What's going on, everybody? It's Jamie.
And John.
And welcome to the A-To-Z Reseller podcast. How's it going this week, John?
Yeah, not too bad. We had a good, successful first weekend of the booth, the indoor flea market booth that, we'll talk about a little bit more. Been just kind of trying to find ways to get sales to increase a little bit. I've had some success. And then, just on a personal front, man, I played some outfield in softball this time. I got tired of taking balls off the shins at third base. So I played some outfield on Monday, and a lot more running around. I'm a lot more tired after that game than I normally am. So, I felt it, but it was fun.
Nice. Yeah, this week's been pretty busy. It's been hot. I don't know if you guys have had the same heat wave going out that way. The humidity.
It's been very hot and humid, yeah.
Yeah, it's been brutal. I've been trying to work on my shed a little bit. I got to the point where I thought I ordered the rest of the lumber I needed. And it could have been me, or it could have been the clerk who did the calculation for me, but I only ordered about half of what I needed. Yeah, so now I'm waiting because the rest of it's on like back order, and I kind of got the runaround from them there a little bit. It was kind of annoying, but yeah, everything's been going good. I think sales have been pretty good still. I noticed a lot of any of the clothing that I'm selling seems to be more jersey orientated or jackets and stuff, but I think everything's been going pretty good.
Yeah, it's funny. It's definitely, I've seen an uptick this last week or so, but it seemed like for about a month, just clothing sales completely died. Like across any, category or season or anything. It just completely disappeared for about a month. Now it started to come back. People are making bundles again on Poshmark, and just, I don't know, it's like the light just got turned back on. I don't know what happened, but one thing I will say, and I don't want to always just blame eBay because it's like the easy thing to do, right? But, usually when I log into eBay and I open up the app, pretty much like every day I can send out multiple offers, right? Like I'm usually opening that up several times a day, and I'm able to send out an offer or 4 offers or whatever, at least a couple of times a day. And I will say there was probably about a week straight where I just wasn't prompted to send out any offers to anybody. So I feel like that probably was something going on the eBay side. I know it's really easy to blame eBay for all my problems in life, and I do, but I mean, typically when that happens and I don't get prompted to send out offers to anyone for like more than a few days, there's usually some kind of internal issue there that then comes to light later on that they'll be like, yeah, we had some server problems or something.
Yeah, especially if you're listing new items, because new items generally get eyes on them, and then you're able to send offers. If you want to send offers out on new items right away, you can normally, right?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, so that's the weird thing, I'm listing new stuff and days go by and it's like, really? Nobody is interested in that thing I just put up? Now, on the flip side, I've had some things sell pretty quickly on, the last couple of days. I just listed well, we can talk about this too. This actually, you know what? Let's skip way ahead here. Let's do sale of the week.
Okay.
All right. Sale of the week. So because this is just great. I was down at the booth on Sunday, and so I got a lot of video game stuff down there for sale. Near the end of the day, one of the other vendors who's like a couple booths down from me comes over, and he's like, hey, man, you're obviously the video game guy. Like, you know what you're doing here, and probably way more than I do. I found this tote of games. Looks like it's mostly PS3 stuff. A lot of it's cheap sports stuff, a lot of filler. It's like, I know there's nothing in here worth a whole lot, or even if there is, whatever. Is it worth it to you to buy these from me for cheap instead of me dealing with it? I'm like, okay, well, I mean, I'll take a look, right? Looked around, looked through the tote, and like 35 of them were like PS3 sports games, like duplicates of NHL 07 and crap like that. I saw a couple titles that were probably like $10, $15 games, maybe a $20 game or something. I was like, most of this I don't want. Most of this I am not interested in, and I would definitely not even want to take off your hands. But if you give me a cheap enough price, I'll just buy all these off of you and then just figure out what to do with all the crap. And he's like, well, how many is there? We counted it up. It was 41 games. He's like, how about $30? I'm like, for about 75 cents a piece, I really can't say no. So, okay, sounds good. So I take it home. You know, I didn't look at every game. I just noticed that the majority of it was that crap, right? So I take it home afterwards. A couple days go by. I start digging through it. I'm like, oh, this is cool. I see Guitar Hero Smash Hits for the Wii in there.
Yeah.
I'm thinking this is probably worth a couple dollars, right? So I look it up and I'm like, oh, wow, this is a $50 game. Like, this is great. You know, so as I start going through it, I'm like, yeah, all right, there's a couple more games here that are worth a little bit of money. But that Smash Hits, it was really scratched up, so I had to test it out and make sure that it worked. But I listed it. It already sold within a day of listing I took an offer because it was really scratched up for $40 plus shipping. So basically after fees and everything, I've made back all my money that I just invested in that tote of games and still have like 40 games left to sell. So
yeah,
that's awesome. I'm going to probably toss him an extra $10 when I go down there just to keep a good relationship going. Like I'll just do that as a little bit of a, hey, just so you know, there was one game in there that I think, you know, we probably both missed and didn't realize was worth what it was. So I'm going to give you this extra $10, you know, and I mean, hey, maybe he won't even accept it. I don't know, but I want to keep that relationship going because if he's got more totes of games, he can send them my way.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I think, and it's obviously a matter of opinion. There's lots of people who just like to be cheap about it and, you know, not give any extra, you know, anything, right?
Yeah.
I'm the same way. I know, like I picked up a couple of things from like the guy who owns our antique mall, and he wanted like next to nothing, and I paid him like almost double what he asked for, just kind of like, you know, like these are going to be good, like you don't have to give them to me. Yeah, because you want that relationship where you're like, if you have stuff like this, I'll buy it from you. It's not a problem, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But yeah, now
so I guess I can put you on the spot now. I don't know if
yeah,
you're ready.
I kind of scrolled through because I knew what my sale of the week was going to be. and it's right here. I just had to look it up because I knew there's two. I bought 2 jerseys last time I went to the sports store in Niagara Falls where I buy brand new jerseys. This one, I think I paid $25-30 for. It's a Calgary Flames practice jersey. It's the black Adidas one. I got $135 for it.
Nice.
I was happy because I'm like, there were no real comps of that. It's a 2016 practice jersey. I don't even know if I seen a Calgary one there at all. So I kind of made up a price that I think it was worth, and and it did sell for that. I do see there were some listed for like $190. I didn't really think that was very realistic, but yeah, I know I got a couple lower offers for this too as well. Somebody offered me like $20 or something. I'm like, whatever. But
yeah,
I like that because it's a pretty quick sale. That's like, you know, I was away maybe a week and a half, 2 weeks ago now. So turnaround. I like that.
Yeah, I mean it's a quick sale. When you've got stuff like that, like, see, that's the cool thing about like jerseys and stuff, that it's a little bit niche, but not like, you know, it still has a fairly broad audience. But when you see something like that, it's new with tags. It's a few years old. Yeah, it's not vintage, but I mean, it's like 8 years old now at this point.
Yep.
It's kind of exclusive because, you know, it's a bit of a rare item. Like, just not a lot of them available. You know, maybe someone has really wanted one and they've seen the ones listed at $190, but are like, I can't justify, you know, spending over $200 after taxes and shipping and stuff.
Yeah.
And you come in with like a pretty reasonable price, and it's like, yeah, you know what, I'm gonna buy that. So, you know, there's chances are that somebody had like Calgary Flames jersey like as a saved search or something like that, and then maybe got a notification. Like,
could be.
Yeah.
Just so we're clear too. I know prior to this, I had a different opinion, but I'm not going to go back to the sports store and throw them an extra $10. I'm
no
happy to make my money off of them.
No, that's fine. I mean, hey, look, they're a store. They obviously are making money off of this, or they wouldn't be selling them like that, you know.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
No, that's fair. I mean, and you know, and I'm not like I don't think anybody would need to do that. I think for my unique position of being the new vendor in this place, I want to just build that relationship really nice, like, you know, early on. And I'm definitely not going to be out by throwing him that extra $10. But I think there's a good chance he's not even going to take it. And he's like, no, man, a deal's a deal. Cool. That's fine too, right?
So I know we had talked a little bit about this before, but let's talk about your booth for a minute. So I know you said your girlfriend kind of already envisioned how she thought it was going to be set up. So you didn't have to put a lot of thought into it, but did things turn out the way that you were hoping? Like, did you get everything? Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. So I mean, it's one of those things where we did the math. We needed to make something like $14 a day to break even, right? And so in the first weekend, the 2 days, we made something like $265 or something like that. So obviously we broke even and then some. I like the way it was set up. It's a pretty decent size space. I don't know what the measurements are, but I mean, it's probably like 10 by 8 or something like that. I mean, that's my guess. I don't know. Maybe I'm just way off on that, but so it's a decent sized little room. But just like her vision on how she set up like her side with all the vintage stuff. I mean, it just looks amazing. Like everybody, all the other vendors were coming in and just being like, wow, you guys made this look good. And of course, she was at home doing some stuff here while I was down manning the booth over the weekend. So I was like, I can't take any credit for that. You might see Jamie down here at some point, and she's the one who did all this because, she's the genius. I just got the video games over on this side. But no, it looks great. It turned out really well. We got a lot of people going in there and browsing around, being like, wow, this is all really nice stuff. I think, you do get people who are obviously like pickers who are there, trying to get yard sale pricing on some things so they can go flip it. And that's fine. I mean, I'm willing to make deals with people, but most of what we've got there is stuff that, we're not really like in a rush to sell. It's kind of like, here's a fair price. And if you offer me something just under this fair price, then sure, let's work it out, but not giving anything away either.
Nice. It's kind of interesting that you get to be there, right? Like that's kind of fun to see the people who are coming through. Yeah. And then I'm sure if you do it over time, you'll even see people come back who are looking for particular things where you can like source for them if you wanted to, right?
That already happened.
Yeah.
So here's the cool thing. On Saturday, on the first day, this guy comes in with his wife, and his wife buys a little bit of like handcrafted jewelry that we had there. And then, he's all about the video games. He walks in, I can tell, is like, this guy's going to buy some video games. Goes right to them. He's looking around. He's like, hey, you got any Xbox stuff? I was like, yeah, right down there on the bottom shelf. Pull out a big box of it. And he's looking through and he's making a stack. I'm like, sweet, right? So, he got a stack of stuff. I think it came to like sticker price was like $135. Keep in mind, all this stuff's coming out of my own personal collection. I'm really not into it any money. It's not like I have a cost associated with this because it's just stuff that's been collecting dust on my shelf. So it came to like $135. He's like, all right, let's work something out here. Like, what can you do on this? So I gave him the stack for $100. That's about 25% off, somewhere in that range. And I was happy with that. And then he's like, yeah, so, all right, you'll probably see me again next week because there's definitely some more stuff I want here. He's like, do you mind if I take some pictures? Because they have like a son or a nephew or somebody who was also like into gaming or whatever. Anyway, they end up coming back the next day on Sunday, bought another $135 worth of stuff for $100. So I gave him the same deal 2 days in a row. So he gave me 200 of that, like 265 or whatever it was that I made in the weekend. And then he's like, all right, he's like, so we got to exchange some contact info because I'm regularly looking for stuff and you can be my guy. I'm like, that works for me. And he's like, is there anything you're looking for? Like, maybe we do some trades every now and then. I'm like, yeah, I'm down. So we got all that situated. And then he texted me later that day and was like, hey, man, do you have Soul Calibur 2 for Xbox? I didn't see it down there, but I thought maybe you got it at home and it wasn't one that you brought down to sell. And well, I did. I had it at home. So I was like, all right, well, it wasn't on my purge list. It wasn't on my initial let's take this and sell it list. So I want to get basically, market value for it. So, I mean, it's only a $10 game, but I just didn't want to like give it away or whatever. So I was like, you bring $10 to the ball field tomorrow because I knew he was in the town where I play ball, and I'll bring it with me. So yeah, we met up at the ball field before my game on Monday, and he's like, yeah, man, this is great. And the funny thing is he's actually cousins with one of the captains on my ball team. So we all just had a good chat. Just a very like small town kind of yeah, man, your cousin just bought $200 worth of video games from me, and just joking around and stuff. So yeah, it's already happened. Got that really good relationship going already, and he's going to go through some stuff that he's looking to either sell or trade, and send me some pictures and stuff, and maybe we'll work something out. Because I don't mind even taking trades for somebody like that. Like, obviously, the whole point is for me to make money, but somebody like that who's going to give me a lot of business and repeat business and has already done like $200. If he's got a couple games he doesn't want, I'll trade him a couple out of my booth and then just sell those. Like, it doesn't matter to me. That helps him. Doesn't really change much for me, but
yeah, that's good. It's always good to build those type of relationships too. And like you said, if I'm sure you'll just continue to see that sort of thing happen at the at your booth, which is pretty cool. Actually, today I was in doing a restock on my booth, and just chatting it up with the owner, and he's like, actually, like he's like, I thought I'd mention this. The booth beside me, so I'm like, right beside me, there's another booth right before there's a doorway to like the next area. So, like, I'm sort of like in a back area.
Okay.
The guy directly beside me, I don't know if he did tell me the complete story, but my brain, I took in just the part I wanted to hear, right?
Yeah, that's what I do.
Yeah. So either he's going back to work and he doesn't have time to, like, because he was hand making a lot of this stuff. Either he doesn't have time to make it, or he's moving, or I think he lives like further away. I think the story was he lives further away. He's going back to work. Regardless, the booth's becoming available. And Mike gave me the price, and I'm like, huh. So now, because he's like, I'd rather than somebody else moves in next door to you to give you the opportunity to, like, because essentially, without saying it, like, he kind of thought maybe I'd want a second booth there, right, especially one that's right beside the one I already have.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, you know what? I don't really want to spend more money, but I would like more space. And what I find is I know my buddy Scott who does this, like, he's got like a couple of big booths, and he said space is a big thing, right? The more stuff you can cram in there, the more you're going to sell. That's just that simple, right? So I'm like, if I want to bump my numbers up so this month is my best month there, and it's about half of what I'd like to make there. So, like, does doubling what I have there actually increase my number, or do I just have more stuff there? I'm not really sure. I only really have committed just to myself to do it till the end of this year. So I'm like, it's not that big of a commitment for another 3 months.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. So that's sort of on the back burner for me too, but I've got to jump on that, right? Like, that ain't going to stay available forever,
Yeah. Space, man, I'll tell you, like, we thought this was a pretty good sized booth for us to start off, and already, like, I've got in my next room behind this bookshelf, which is my den area, I've just got stacks of more video game stuff, controllers, accessories, guides, Nintendo Power magazines, just you name it, just more stuff that I could easily be like, yeah, I could take this down to the booth, but I don't have room for. I'm already out of room. There is a small, like, little half booth, just sort of like an inlet in the wall, that's cheaper and it's right across from us, that I'm considering getting as well. But again, it's one of those things like, how much do I really want to, like, commit? Because that was just the one weekend, I'd kind of like to see a little more progress and whatever before I commit to spending more money. But man, yeah, space is everything, because, like, I know that if I had even just 25% more room, I could put up more bookshelves along that small little booth and have probably double the amount of video game stuff, like, actually available, with even just 25% more space, right? So it's because it's all about how you display it, of course, as well. But yeah, it's tricky because, you're putting money out and you're like, okay, I need this to, like, work out, and I need to make sure I'm not, putting too much out. At the end of the day, is this going to be worth it? But yeah, well, keep me updated on that. I did see your Instagram story earlier, where you said everything looked restocked. It looks really nice in there. I got to say, your booth looks pretty good. So
yeah, I'm pretty happy with it. Every time I show my wife, because she's not really off on any day where we could go like on a Sunday, we could go check it out if she wanted to see it. So she usually just sees the photos, and she's like, I can't believe how much crap you've got like in there. Like, she's like, you really jammed it full of stuff. I'm like, yeah, I think that's the point though.
Yeah.
Like, stuff on top of stuff. As long as you can see it, I don't think it's a problem, basically.
No, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. So that'll be the big decision for me coming up, whether I do that or not. I'm working on a video now. I just did, so, you know, like when I did the bulk buy of hats and bulk buy of DVDs, well, I just did the same sort of thing with used shoes.
Okay.
I think it's about, this is a guesstimate. I think it's like maybe 350 pounds of shoes. Like, it's a pallet of shoes. There are a good amount of them that are like not good for sure. But, you know, I think I figured it out where like the correct information will be in the video. But I think I've got like 14 garbage bags. I paid about around $212 for it. So I've got to, you know, each garbage bag has to contain at least like $14 or $15 for me to break even. Right. So almost like there's no way that's not going to happen. It's just how much it'll just be like making sure that I don't keep stuff that I shouldn't. If it's needs to be donated, or if I need to throw it in a pile for a yard sale because they're a pair of Walmart shoes, that's what has to happen.
Yeah, for sure. The $5 to $10 stuff, it's like, okay, you can almost either just delete that right now, or just not even like count on that being part of the equation, because you're gonna have to either like sell that at a yard sale, or, you know, maybe put an ad up on Facebook Marketplace, $5 shoes, and then just, you know, have like a few pairs or whatever they're listed. Someone might pick them up, but I mean, surely there's got to be, out of what, 12 or 14 garbage bags, I think he said, like, there needs to at least be, you know, 10, 20 good pairs of shoes in there. They're going to be $20, $30, $40 pairs that, you know, are easily going to make your money back and some profit. And then whatever happens with the rest of it, it's kind of like those sports games out of the bin I bought. It's like, whatever, even if I get 50 cents a piece for them, or I put them with a console to help move it later on, they still have some value, but I'm not counting on them to mean much, right?
Yeah, for sure. And it's just sort of, I really didn't want to buy these either. It's one of those things where the opportunity comes. And right. I've asked, I don't really like to say where I'm getting this from. But I mean, it's pretty obvious if anybody just watches the video where it comes from. I know they don't really care if I say, but at the same time, I don't really want to like dirty the relationship I have there. So I just prefer not to. But I've been asking and asking and asking. So when they finally said, sure, well, I'm in the middle of trying to finish a shed and doing a whole bunch of other things. And I really don't have the room for them. So like, but I mean, I couldn't say no because I've asked so many times, and just sort of standing there like, please, and they finally throw you a bone, right? And you're like, okay, well, I guess I got to do this now. So
that reminds me of being a teen and like having a crush on a girl and like, you know, asking her out a few times, or like, you know, trying to get her to like you or whatever. And then, you know, maybe a month later, she's like, okay, we can go out on that date. It's like, oh, thanks, I got a girlfriend now. Like, way to go. Yeah. So that you kind of have to say no in that case, but you should. Oh, to all the teenage boys watching this video,
exactly.
Say no.
Yeah. So some other sad news here. The Blue Jays are obviously sellers here at the trade line, which for me, the biggest, I mean, I didn't expect them to go all in, but the biggest sad part for me is I bought a bottle of whiskey that was supposed to be my World Series bottle. If they only had to get to the World Series and I could open this bottle. So now I've got to stare at this thing for at least another 10 years probably before.
I was going to say that wasn't going to happen this year, but
no. But well, definitive nail in the coffin. I'm like, this bottle is not coming off the shelf anytime soon. I was a little disappointed.
Yeah, you might need to. I mean, hey, is like American League champions, is that worth a bottle of whiskey? Or no, I guess that would be get to the World Series, wouldn't it? Okay, no, so like yes, AL East champs, is that worth a bottle of whiskey? Because that could happen maybe in the next 5 years.
Well, me and my wife made sort of like just a pact when we bought it. And then I think I talked about it on my channel. I bought it because it was really cool in the States. And it's from like Cooperstown, New York, which is where the Baseball Hall of Fame is.
Yeah.
And it's like a distillery there, and it comes in like a glass baseball with a cork. It's really cool.
Nice.
But when I got back to the border, because we weren't gone long enough, they charged me duty on it. Plus, depends on the border officer, but this border officer decided they value what it'd be worth in Canada and then make you pay the difference. So this thing cost me like over $100 for like what would probably be like a 26er here by the time you could take the output of it. So I'm like, this has got to be special now. It's not just because
that's fair. That's not just break it out on a Friday and see what happens. It's
yeah.
Okay.
So it's gonna be aged well by the time I open it, by the looks of it anyway.
Yeah. Well, that's good. But yeah, I mean, I would say that for the Jays this year, you know, I mean, I knew they were going to do some selling off. I knew they were going to do some trading, and obviously getting rid of players and trying to get some value for those who, you know, their contracts are over at the end of the year. You know, you're not going anywhere this year. Try to get those out to a contender, get something in return. I think overall they actually got some decent returns. You know, lots of young prospects and some good players and stuff. But the one that surprised me the most was Isaiah Kiner-Falefa, because his contract isn't up at the end of the year. And man, before he went on the injured list, like, he was tearing it up, was arguably at that time the best all-round player on the team.
Yep. Yeah, I agree. He did heat up. It's funny because I did not like him, and I'm not even sure that I do now, to be honest. Like, I'm not super sad to see him go, but I do agree he was really, really picking it up right before he got hurt. I think the biggest problem with a guy like him who comes in, it's like, you know, he's trying to replace Matt Chapman, and you know, that was sort of a sour spot. So it's like, this is to me, I guess it's not really that I was like, I never liked him. It was just like, I thought about the Jays, like, this is what you want instead of that. Like, what is wrong with you? But I guess, but you know, there's two sides to every story. I'm sure Chapman maybe didn't want to stay in Toronto either. He maybe just doesn't want to actually say that, but
maybe. Hey, I'm a fan of Ernie Clement, so.
Oh yeah, that's awesome. I love seeing Ernie.
Yeah, I like him. I'm glad he's getting the playing time.
Yeah, we actually have. There's no way to authenticate this whatsoever, but the last Bison game me and Amanda went to, she got a toss up from Ernie. But at the time, we had no idea who Ernie Clement was. But it was so cool to get the toss up from him. And then when he came up, I think last year we seen him. We're like, oh, this is that kid who tossed you the ball. This is cool. Yeah, so we actually have it down on our shelf downstairs. So we know it's an authentic Ernie ball, but it's, you know, it's about as far as it goes.
Yeah. Well, I'd believe you if I ever wanted to buy it from you, but it might be a hard sell otherwise.
Yeah, for sure. So I know we talked about sales of the week, but did you actually have, like, you said eBay started picking back up for you a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, it picked up a little bit, you know, and I'd say that, well, I think last week what I talked about was the lot of comics.
Yeah.
And I feel like that really kicked off some more of like the higher dollar value sales. And I started seeing people, like, you know, sending offers on items that were, you know, more $30, $40 items, or I was able to send out offers on those higher end items. I don't understand, like, how the triggers work sometimes on that platform, but I would say like light jackets and sweaters and jerseys and things that are kind of gearing up for football season or the fall. Yeah. That stuff is really seeming to ramp up right now. I mean, it's not like, oh, I've just sold a ton of jackets or anything, but like just the activity on it. You can just see the activity. You know, they're getting more views. I'm able to send out offers. I've gotten a couple of low ball offers on some of those things, and then I've countered. And of course, you know, I never heard anything back or whatever, but it's still activity on those types of items.
Yeah. Well, I was just thinking, I was just looking through my last, like even my last 10 sales on eBay here. So we've got like a Sonic the Hedgehog video game for $17, not too much. Nirvana Nevermind for $39. That was a cassette tape. Calgary Flames jersey, which we talked about. Another cassette tape, Rolling Stones for $25. A t-shirt. This t-shirt is a really weird one, actually. It's Supreme, which know the brand.
Oh yeah.
But it's a cross with this guy, this designer called Ass Pizza. Never heard of him before. Have you?
No.
No.
Can't
Really.
say that I have.
Anyway, I pulled this out of the Goodwill bins. It was like $75. So that's not a typical t-shirt though, right? That's
yeah.
Then I sold Fleetwood Mac cassettes. I sold a lot of for $20. I sold a lot of Pink Floyd cassettes. I sold a pair of sandals. There's not a lot of clothing in there though, right? It's these, well, there's a video game in there, but these cassettes that I'm like highly listing, and I just, when I look back, I don't see a lot of eBay clothing sales. I do see a football jersey if I go back a little further, but
right. Yeah, it's the clothing is definitely, like I say, started to come back around a little bit, like some cheaper items and stuff. But actually, you know what? There was another cool item that I'll mention here. Probably a year to a year and a half ago now, I was in my regular thrift store that's mostly clothing, but they do occasionally have some hard goods on the rack or in this one little bin. And I got 4 brand new sealed vintage Windows 95 spill-proof keyboards.
Oh, cool.
So like, I think the brand was Precision. Yeah, Precision Instruments, 104 key Windows 95 spill-proof keyboards, 4 of them new and sealed. And I got them for $3 a piece. And I did just sell one of those, the first one. It took a long time, but I mean, for $3 a piece, I couldn't say no. And I just sold one of those for, what was it, $30. So, I mean, took a while, but it's just a really unique item.
Yeah, that is a pretty cool item. I just found, what was the other thing I found weird this week? I sold a VCR on Poshmark, which I think it's only my second VCR I've ever sold there. I typically don't really. I think I started putting VCRs there when I got kicked off at Etsy, because I'm like, well, I'd like a secondary place to sell these if it's not on Etsy.
Yeah.
But this is only the second one I ever sold. It was like for $39 US, which isn't even a ton of money or anything. But
no, I mean, still, you're probably picking them up for like 10 or 15 bucks max. So
yeah.
80. Yeah. So it's still a nice little turnaround.
Yeah, but I think my Poshmark's been okay. But like when I compare it to last year, it's super down from last year for sure.
Mm. Oh, yeah.
Because I know the biggest reason why I would probably notice it is I've had to like change. I haven't had really any. Obviously, I haven't had any drastic change in my finances. Otherwise, we wouldn't be going to baseball games and going away on the weekend. So I'm not financially in any trouble whatsoever. Right. But what I was doing was I was taking my Poshmark payout every month. I would just save it for a month, take it, and then I would pay like stuff like my utility bills came out of there. I was using it mostly for my bills. And then eBay generally was funding all of my reselling stuff. And then some of the other money from other platforms usually just went into savings for buying stuff. And I kind of just had this little system built up. But what I've noticed definitely over the last 4 months for sure is like there's not enough money in that account, and I've always got to fund it somewhere else. So I'm like, well, there's a problem here, because before there was a surplus of money, and at the end of the month, whatever was left, I would just take that money, put it in my savings account for tax time or for whatever, and then I would refund or fill it back up with my Poshmark sales for the month. So I can tell you, like, it's definitely down enough that I'm financially feeling it a little bit, or have to like juggle things around. So it's not.
Well, it's disrupting the usual flow. Yeah.
Yeah, just because I'm like a creature of habit. I just like to do the same thing. So like when that's not working, I'm like, well, this isn't very nice. This is just the way that I want it to work.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. It's funny when you were talking about that. I don't know how my brain spaghettied its way there, but I followed this train of thought, and it somehow reminded me of. I think this is how I got there. Okay, so I'll explain how I got there. So I think when you were talking about Poshmark, my brain started having an internal conversation about how Poshmark customer service is better than eBay customer service. Mm-hmm. I don't typically find as many problems there, and that's why it does suck that it's down a little bit, because I like it better. And then somehow that got into just the concept of customer service as a whole, which reminded me of a recent experience I had as a buyer online when a shipment didn't arrive to me because it got damaged. And then I was like, oh no, like, what do I do? So, yeah, you feel like another little story?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. Because I don't know how I got here, but anyway. All right. So, we are definitely fans of vintage things. And, you know, we like our kitchen is set up. It looks like the 70s in there, 60s or 70s, like very, you know, avocado green, kind of that groovy orange of the late 60s, early 70s. Like someone was doing acid in my kitchen is all I'm saying, right? Wasn't me. But that's kind of the vibe we got. So like the old Corel dishes, like the spring blossom print, the little green, like spring blossom print. We had all that, and we had like a lot of those vintage dishes, but we didn't really like using them because those old ones from the 60s and 70s actually did or could contain like lead in the paint, like in those patterns. So even though it was probably such a small amount that it wouldn't hurt us, it was like, yeah, I don't know. We just didn't want to use them anymore. Corel just recently re-released that spring blossom print on new dishes. So now you can actually go buy them new, re-release of that pattern that's been out of print for like, you know, 40 years or whatever it's been. And so, of course, that's what we do. We're like, yes, this is great. Let's go ahead and, you know, get those again. So it was coming in 2 shipments. And yeah, one of them got busted in shipping. And all it said was that it was through UPS. And all it said was, we have notified the sender. So I was like, okay, well, this kind of sucks, but I'm sure they'll figure it out. And of course, my girlfriend was way more worried about it, like way more like, you know, freaked out. Like, yeah, but okay, what if they like the sale's over? So what if they like charge, you know, just refund your card? And but now we just have these 6 plates from the one box. Like, how's that going to help us when we don't have the other rest of the set? And so a lot of scenarios started going through our heads of like, oh shit, we really got to take care of this right away. So to their credit, I called up Corel and was just like, hey, this is what happens. Here's the order number. Within like 3 minutes, the girl had like sent out a replacement. We got the email with a new tracking number. It's like, it was the best customer service I've ever experienced anywhere in my entire life. So anyway, I figured I would just mention it here today. If anybody else wants to buy spring blossom Corel dishes, don't be alarmed if they arrive broken, because they will.
John's link's down below for the
yeah, my affiliate link is down below. No, but it really was good. I mean, as a seller and as somebody who like strives to do the right thing when things go wrong, for my buyers, it was a good testament of like how to take care of your customer, because it was really, really easy. And, you know, it alleviated all of our concerns within like 3 minutes. You can't ask for better than that.
Well, let's spin that into some not negative necessarily eBay,
right?
But do you remember?
But usually eBay.
Yeah, usually eBay. So do you remember me telling you last week about that I can't speak French very well, and I was trying to communicate with this guy about a PlayStation 3?
I do. Yep.
So the day that the case was supposed to be decided, I called, no, a couple days before, I got a hold of somebody on eBay, and they had said, hey, just like try to reach out to this guy one last time, you know, and just see if you can like work it out. So I reached out to him, and he said to me, which translated to English as this, he's like, yeah, I think this works. Essentially said, I think this works for me. I'm going to go ahead or I've already closed the case. I have my resolution or something like that. It was really broken up, but I'm like, okay, cool. So I waited a day and the case didn't close. So I call eBay, and they're like, I explained to the people, like, you know, I'm using Google Translate, and I'm sure he's doing the same thing. And like the last one he sent, he actually did try to do in English again, and it was pretty poor. And they're just like, yeah, we're not really sure. This isn't really clear to us either. I'm like, well, it does say that he's like happy with it. He's happy with it, and he would close the case. I'm like, why would we force him to return it now if he doesn't want to return? And they're like, no, you should just reach out to him again. I'm like, I just said, like, if I was in his shoes and I reached out again, I'd be irritated that you like wouldn't leave me alone, right? I did, and I said, hey, I'm so sorry to bother you again. I'm like, I think there was a little bit of confusion. If you want to keep this, could you please close the case? Otherwise, it's going to trigger the return. Or if you want to return it, that's fine too. But just can you be clear about it? And he's like, "Oh yeah, so sorry." And he closed the case. eBay released the $90 or whatever they've been holding, and I'm like it's just so frustrating because I'm like, at that point where I'm like, this guy, even though it's broken English, he basically said, I'm happy with it. I'm going to keep it.
Right.
Works for me. I'm going to close the case. I don't know if he didn't realize he needed to close it himself or what, but I thought eBay potentially would have stepped in or at least offered to extend the hold because it was supposed to come up that day. But they're just like, no, I don't think so. It's like, come on.
That's just terrible because, okay, like you say, very clearly, or maybe not very clearly, but at least, it was communicated from that person that, hey, we're good here. Like, we don't need to go along with this case. It's fine. I don't understand why eBay, it isn't their standard operating procedure to just correct things and make things easy for their users. Like, they can see those messages the same as you can. So it's not like, oh, you called up and they're just having to take your word for it. They can see that person's message to you that says, yeah, we're good. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Why can't they override the system and just go in and close that case themselves? Like, it's just, I don't understand their thought process behind that.
I don't either. And I like said to the representative multiple times, is like, I don't even care about the $90. I care about my seller, the defects on my accounts.
Yeah.
Like, if it was up to me, I would have just probably refunded this guy already. But because it's open in a case and it's on hold, eBay is the only one who can do anything, or the person who bought it, who opened the case, right? I'm like, my hands are kind of tied here, and I'm the only one trying to do what I thought was the right thing to like resolve this, and
yeah,
it's just frustrating. Like,
it is.
I know the person too. They had to so they've got me on hold, and then I don't know, you can hear them typing. I don't know if they're just in a chat with somebody. They're probably in a chat with somebody who knows what they're talking about, because they're just they're just the one appointed to this situation, but they don't really understand policy all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, it was super frustrating. I think the call actually got dropped, and then I'm just like, oh, I don't even know. And then the person, like I said, wound up being like, oh, yeah, sorry about that, and then closed the case. So it was a happy ending. It just took a long time to get there.
Yeah, no, that's nuts. Sticking with eBay and potential frustrations. Did you get your coupon code yet for your?
I don't think so. I haven't checked again in the last few days, but I don't think so. Have you?
I did get a message through eBay, I think yesterday, that said, "Here's your shipping supplies coupon." So I think that it should be there for you now. Take a look though.
Yeah. And
if not, I'm like 90% sure the code is the same for everyone.
One day ago, yeah. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. There it is.
Cool.
I guess we did 1 day ago. I guess I was still caught up in the other eBay drama that I didn't look at that, but
yeah. So I don't know what their problem was, but man, I mean, that was a month late, but at least it finally did come. So I was able to get the poly mailers I wanted after I did have to go and buy some more on Amazon. But usually with that eBay coupon, I do a blend. Like, I'll do like tape one time, and then I'll do some poly mailers the next. And sometimes I have way too much tape, like right now. So I get more poly mailers because I'll always end up needing more of them. So I didn't like really need anything. It's just still frustrating when that's supposed to be a perk. I mean, that's a $35 coupon 4 times a year. That's $140. Well, I think my total like subscription, I think it's like $23 a month or something. So I mean, it's only like $260 a year or something, and you're getting back like $140. So you're getting back over half what you pay in for your source subscription on these shipping supplies coupons, if you actually get them. Like, I mean, it's a huge thing.
Yeah, I think I typically have been getting the tape. I'm like you. I've got a surplus of tape right now.
Yeah.
The last one I got was rainbow color, or they were all different colors. But
Oh, yeah.
I think I'm gonna get some more of the regular poly bags. I do like them. They're
Yeah.
pretty decent, versatile. I think I still even have some of the bubble mailers from them too. But
Okay.
yeah, it is nice though. I mean, because that is one thing. Like shipping supplies definitely can be costly.
Yeah.
Um, I know I've been waiting. I've been scrounging for boxes, so I still get boxes from like our spa, right? They save me boxes that I can use. But I had been buying from Staples,
Yeah.
but the guy at Stallion Express had told me that they were going to start restocking the USPS boxes again, and so I've been sort of waiting. And as I'm waiting, every time I sell something that requires a box, I'm like, "Ooh, I really hope I got a box for this somewhere." It's just nicer to have it. I really don't like trying to figure it out after you sold it. I'd rather just have the things that I need. But
Yeah. Yeah, for
sort
sure.
of in that limbo, like right now, where I'm like, don't know if I should be spending the money or not.
Yeah. Yeah, true enough. I mean, and I like getting, I get my boxes from Staples now as well, and I think it's a reasonable price and stuff. It's just, at the same time, if you can get free supplies or really cheap supplies, it's like, I mean, that's huge, right? And I don't know, I've never been one who, like, I know some people talk about this, and especially like on Poshmark, they add in like little gifts or little like, business cards or little notes that say thank you and all this stuff. And like, I don't know, for me personally, none of that matters whatsoever. I don't care if it comes in a craft dinner box, as long as it's protected inside, it arrives safely, and it gets to me. I really don't care what it's packaged in. I know some people talk about how, it kind of looks like cheap, or like you don't care if you're just reusing some other like branded box or something. I mean, and it's, everybody has the right to feel however they feel about it. But for me personally, it just doesn't matter. So like I do have a pretty good source of boxes, because I mean, we buy stuff from Amazon as well, and like I get stuff in, but there's businesses around me that I can go get boxes at any time. The girls at the post office save boxes for me, and it's like, I don't know. I almost don't even ever need to buy boxes now. The only reason why I like to have some from Staples, especially, is because then I know exactly what size I have, and I know what size of box it's going to fit in, so that when I make my listing, I'm putting in what those exact dimensions will be, and and then that's what the calculated shipping is based on, because I do calculated shipping. So then the only thing is, okay, well, if I put in that dimension, but then I box it up and it's something else, maybe that number's off a bit. But that would literally be the only reason why I'd want to have like standardized size boxes at this point. But
Oh yeah, for sure. That makes total sense to me for sure. And yeah, I think Staples has like probably the best prices for Canada. If you buy online, in store, it's a little bit more money if you try to go buy individual boxes.
right, yeah.
But yeah,
No, online the pricing's good. I was getting through Uline, but that was, of course, having to come freight from Ontario to me in rural Nova Scotia. So the shipping was always like, $150 or something, which is not bad if you're getting like a really big bulk order, and you get like rolls of bubble wrap and boxes and all kinds of like poly mailers and bubble mailers all at once in one huge thing. But I mean, then you're looking at like an $800 to $1,200 order of supplies all at once, and it's like, that's just a large a large chunk to put down. You might not need to buy things for a long time, but I don't know, I kind of like buying in piecemeal a little bit better.
yeah, I agree. I did think when you were saying about the thank you cards and all that sort of thing. I did that for a really long time. I think
Yeah.
for almost 2 years that I was doing the thank you cards, and they don't cost a lot of money. But when I think the last time I ran out of them, I thought, I'm just going to see if it makes much difference or any difference.
Mm.
I don't think it does.
Yeah.
It's sort of a nice thing you can do.
Yeah.
But then, like, sometimes, like, if you get something from somebody and it has like coupons and other things, the first thing you do is throw those in the garbage, right? Or recycling or whatever. People typically don't care too much about that type of thing. Some people might really appreciate it, and then, like you said, it is a matter of opinion. But to anybody out there on the fence, whether they think you need them or not, I think if you really think you need them, maybe start off by even like making your own, like print some out yourself that you've made to see if you think it even matters after a month. Because, you know, even though they're cheap enough to buy in bulk, you're probably still going to spend like $100 to get enough of them that they're cheap enough. So you're going to spend some money just to give somebody a piece of like cardstock, essentially.
Yeah, that they're going to toss immediately. Yeah, I would say that like thank you notes. You know, I don't have any like when I see one of them, I'm not like, ah, crap, they gave me a thank you note. I don't want to see that. But I will say, on Poshmark, being a platform that is supposed to be, you know, or to me, what Poshmark and you know these platforms really mean is a way to save pre-owned items from the landfill. You know, to have that secondhand kind of e-commerce, and it's, to me, it's like way more environmentally friendly than going out and buying new all the time. Like there's this whole environmental aspect of it, and I know there's shipping and stuff like that. I get that, but like if I'm buying something secondhand and I'm buying like you know, whatever it is secondhand to try to like save the planet, if that's a real thing, and someone sends me this little baggie full of just like plastic crap that I would never use, or like a pen that has their branding on it or something, it's like, to me, then I actually do feel a little bit like the word definitely isn't betrayed, because, you know, they have no idea. They think they're doing something nice, but it does feel like it's a little bit counterproductive for the reason why I do thrifting and why I try to buy secondhand. If I'm receiving this just new, cheap, you know, probably came from Temu, just stuff that I literally don't care about, right? It feels like a waste.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think we're in the 20s now, so that's pretty impressive. I'm guessing 21. I'll know when I edit this, obviously. You know, we're moving along pretty good here. If you guys like videos like this, please give it a thumbs up. If you're not subscribed to the channel, please consider subscribing for more content, and we'll see you soon.